Hey, my friends. Welcome back. Dr. Ken Berry here, family physician. I've been practicing family medicine for over 22 years now. And I wanted to start today's live off talking about a phrase that I've been seeing in social media a lot. And I've actually used it on my ex Twitter account. And I've gotten a little kickback, and I just wanted to have a discussion with you guys about this phrase. A lot of people think it's very controversial. Some people think that it sounds great. Other people think that it rhymes with something and therefore it's bad or naughty or evil. And so I wanted to just talk about that a little bit. I think you're going to find this quite interesting. The way the human nature of this plays out is very interesting. A lot of people, if they don't like a friend of yours, they hate that friend. Then if you say anything that even resembles being something good about that friend, then they're like, well, I must hate you too. And this was very common back in junior high and high school when I was a teenager. But I would expect for that kind of behavior, as we all have matured into adults, I would expect that kind of behavior to become less and less and less. But there seems to be still a few adults out there who think that if somebody says something and you don't like that somebody, then that something must be bad and you must hate it and you must be against it no matter what. And that's kind of foolish. So this may be a little controversial to some of you. Some of you guys may unfollow me because of this. I always speak from my heart, and I'm going to be doing that today. A combination of my heart and my brain, all filtered through what I consider to be the lens of common sense. So the phrase I'm talking about is "Make America Healthy Again." 4 words: Make America Healthy Again. I guess you could say "Make America Healthy Once Again," or "Remake America Healthy." But when you say "Make America Healthy Again," evidently that rhymes with another slogan that many people find very triggering. And I don't mean to trigger anybody by saying this. What I want to do is literally make America healthy again. In my opinion, and the way I use this phrase, it is 100% nonpartisan. It has nothing to do, actually, with politics. What it has to do with, it has everything to do with medicine and nutrition and lifestyle and physical activity. None of those things should be political. Do you agree with that? Please tell me in the comments. I want to know, are you triggered by when I say the phrase "Make America Healthy Again"? Are you triggered by that? If you are, please explain why in the comments. So it's completely nonpartisan. Is there a Republican that doesn't want their country to be healthy again? I don't think so. Is there a Democrat? Is there a Green Party member? Is there a Libertarian who would not like to see America get healthier? I feel like that should be everybody's goal, because your friends and your neighbors and your relatives, they're all American. They're American. And don't you want your friends and neighbors to be healthier? I do. I do. I would like for my entire county and my entire state and my entire country, and indeed the entire world, to be healthier again. So let's break this down. The first word, make, what does that mean? That means you got to do something. Make, it's kind of a verb. You got to do some things, and you got to stop doing other things. Make, is this going to take state and national level legislation? Maybe. What I would prefer to see is if a lot of federal legislation and federal regulations were canceled, because in many cases, the reason we're so unhealthy is that the federal government has given multi-billion-dollar multinational corporations the ability to skirt the rules, skirt the law, skirt common sense, to do things that are not quick poison. They're not going to kill you today or tomorrow or next week. But over the course of 10, 20, 30, 40 years, they're going to make you sick. They're going to make you suffer. They're going to make you die prematurely. They're going to steal years from your life, and they're going to steal life from your years while they make billions. So in that respect, I think that legislation and regulation needs to be addressed, but not by making a bunch of new laws, but basically by stripping a lot of shitty laws and shitty regulations off the books, to stop giving sweetheart deals to big food corporations who make billions of dollars by making you slowly metabolically sick, and by stripping the protective regulation away that allows big food manufacturers to basically take sugar and put it in a bowl and call it food. What do you think about that? Please tell me. I want to know. If you haven't already, hit the thumbs up or the heart. That helps the algorithm know that this is important. And I think that making America healthy again, I think that's important to everybody around the world, even if you're not in America, because many other countries follow America's lead. If we change a guideline or a regulation or a law, if the American Diabetes Association or the American Heart Association, American Medical Association, if they issue new guidelines, very often other countries will pick that up, and that'll become their guidelines. So by making America healthy again, D3T guy even want to make Canadians healthy again too. This is all inclusive. A lot of people, when they hear "Make America Healthy Again," they think, well, that's somehow that's going to be racist, or it's going to discriminate against one class or another class based on race, creed, religion. No. Make America Healthy Again doesn't discriminate against anyone. It doesn't shame anyone. It is about as all-inclusive as you can get. I want literally every single American. I don't care. I don't care about anything about you except, are you a human or are you not a human? If you are, good. I want you to be healthier. The end. I don't care about any other thing about you, your religion, your skin color, your ethnicity, where you're from, who your people are. Do not care about any of that. And I don't think anybody who says "Make America Healthy Again" and truly means it, I don't think they care either. I don't think anybody cares about those things. This is all inclusive. Nobody's going to be left behind. We're going to help every American be healthier again, whether you're broke as a joke like I used to be, or whether you're middle class, whether you're rich as 4 foot up of bulls, which is what Granddaddy Barry used to call rich people. It doesn't matter. You're human. You're an American. I want you to be healthier. Here's the thing. Most of the time when you hear a slogan or a phrase that's adopted by a political party, what it ultimately means is that it's going to cost us billions in tax dollars. It's either going to cause a tax increase, or it's going to cause more regulations. It's going to cause a problem. We're going to have to do something to curtail the freedoms of Americans. And in the case of Make America Healthy Again, I don't think that's the case. I think that if you implement this, what you're going to do is roll back a bunch of laws, take them off the book, roll back a bunch of regulation, take them off the book. Basically, you're going to stimulate local gardeners, local ranchers, local farmers. And that's how this could be written into law, is that you could provide incentives not to subsidize big sugar and big wheat, big soybean, big corn, but to subsidize. Do you know there's no broccoli subsidy, right? There's literally no subsidy for kale or spinach. None. And for you carnivores out there, you probably don't want there to be, but I'd much rather there be a financial incentive for people to grow local broccoli than I would for there to be an incentive, a subsidy for people to go grow millions of acres of corn that's going to be made into fuel for our cars, when this has been proven time and time again it's not any better for the environment than just putting the stuff in your gas tank that you should be putting in your gas tank. I've read the research on this. Corn ethanol it's a net negative to just a break even situation. It does not protect the environment anymore once you count all the inputs. And so the federal government is subsidizing farmers to grow corn. If we're already doing that, why not subsidize them to raise grass finished meat? Why not subsidize them to raise all the healthy vegetables that when you think of a vegetable, well, that's what you think of. You don't think of soybean or corn or wheat or rice or oats or corn. Those aren't vegetables. Those are beans and seeds. Those are prisoner foods, starvation foods. Why are we subsidizing that? Back in the 1910s and 1920s, there were Americans who were starving to death. And I don't mean they just didn't have access to the freshest food. I mean, they were literally starving. So we needed subsidies back then to say, hey, we need more of you guys growing lots of food to feed these people so they don't starve to death. Yeah. And that's where all the farm subsidies came from. And I think back then it was a great thing. And then we were like, okay, we got to feed the whole world. So more farm subsidies. Okay. But I think we've gotten to the point now where we've got enough acres in production that we could convert a bunch of those acres to actually growing healthy human food instead of starvation, fallback foods, prisoner food. What do you think? Would you like to see a subsidy for broccoli farmers? So you could have organic broccoli on the store shelf that didn't cost as much as it costs now. That's the reason that cereals are so cheap. That's the reason that bread and cereal, anything made out of vegetable seed oils, which are also subsidized, if you can make it out of vegetable seed oils, ground up grains, wheat, rice, oats, corn, and sugar, all of those are subsidized. So when you eat a tortilla wrap or a loaf of bread or breakfast cereal, you're eating subsidized commodity prisoner food. That's what you're eating. Would you support a taking away the subsidy for ethanol corn and giving that to farmers who wanted to grow Brussels sprouts and broccoli and kale and spinach, tomatoes, bell peppers? Should there be a bell pepper subsidy? Because there's currently not one. A lot of people don't understand how this works. Only things that are considered commodities are subsidized. So things we can trade to other countries or use in other countries as leverage. We don't subsidize real, actual vegetables. Stuff you would grow in your garden, none of that's subsidized. Should it be or should it not? I don't know. I'm just asking you. Tell me in the comments. What about grass finished meat? Should that receive subsidy? It doesn't get a subsidy now. There are some things that ranchers can do to get some help from the federal government, but it's not the same kind of subsidy as you get from wheat, rice, oats, and corn. What about eggs, farm fresh eggs from pastured chickens? Should that receive some kind of either a tax break from the federal government if you have a big pastured chicken farm? Should that get a subsidy? Or should it not? Should it get a tax break? Because it doesn't always have to be the federal government throwing money at stuff. You could just remove regulation, remove taxes give them a tax break. Give them if somebody wanted to start a huge grass-fed pastured chicken farm and sell pastured eggs, you give them a tax break. You could give them a FHA approved, like a lower interest rate loan that the federal government guaranteed. All kinds of ways to skin this cat, so to speak. Sorry, Peter. It's an old expression from Granddaddy Barry. It's more than one way to skin a cat. Did your granddaddy ever say that? I'm sure he didn't mean anything offensive by it. This can be cheap. We can make America healthy again without raising taxes or without going deeper into debt. That's absolutely possible. Now, a lot of people feel like if you say make America healthy again, that's anti-somebody. anti-minority, anti-religion, anti-ethnicity. How? If you're an American citizen, I want you to be healthy. The end. There's only two big groups that Make America Healthy Again would feel like it's anti to them. That's Big Pharma and Big Food. And then third place is Big Ag. If we say, hey, Big Pharma, you're going to have to pay for your own stuff from now on. You're not going to get tax breaks all the time, because 99% of the new pharmaceuticals that you're putting on the market are Me Too drugs. They're copycat drugs. There's no big breakthrough. It's just, our new drug does this thing 5% better than the old drugs, but we're going to charge 5 times as much for 5% better. That's what Big Pharma's been doing for the last 20 years. There's been very few big breakthroughs that truly improve the health of Americans. Why are they being subsidized? Why are they getting tax breaks? They're basically coming up with a new drug that treats a symptom 5% better than the old drug. And then they get to charge a huge amount. They get special treatment from the medical insurance companies, from the PBMs, from all of the middlemen. They get a free pass. And very often their research, either they don't tell the full truth in the research, Big Pharma, that is. You know what I'm talking about, right? We won't get into that. Or they get special treatment. They get to go to the front of the line. How does that make America healthier? I don't think it does. And the other one is Big Food. Big Food gets tons of subsidized. The wheat, rice, oats, corn, vegetable seed oils, and sugar are subsidized so heavily that Kellogg's and General Mills and Kraft Heinz and Post cereals, they effectively get their raw materials for free. They're so cheap because the government subsidizes them so much. Is that okay with you? So Big Pharma's not going to Make America Healthy Again at all. Now what they're going to try to do is co-opt it. They're going to be like, yes, make America healthy again with our new drug. No, I think enough people had enough of an experience back in 2019, 2020, 2021 that we're looking for other solutions besides drugs and injections. We're looking for natural remedies for this. And since 80% of the chronic disease in the United States is diet related, basically caused by eating junk food, is a prescription pill or a prescription injection, is that the answer? I don't think so. I think we need to fix the food. I think we need to educate every American that no, Lucky Charms is not heart healthy, even though the American Heart Association used to tell you it was. It will increase your risk of developing diabetes and metabolic syndrome and hypertension and obesity and fatty liver. Don't eat Lucky Charms. There needs to be a press conference. The new Surgeon General, and a lot of people have put me up for that position, but I don't want to be Surgeon General. I'm not saying that I wouldn't accept it, but I'm saying I'd just rather not. We need the Surgeon General to start holding press conferences and say, hey, no, there is no healthy breakfast cereal. Not one. A healthy breakfast is bacon and eggs or steak and eggs or just eggs and salmon, eggs and broccoli. That's a healthy breakfast. There is no healthy cereal. No matter how much fiber you put in cereal, it's still some combination of sugar, grains, vegetable seed oils. That's what it is, with some added artificial fiber. Then the American Heart Association says, ka-ting. Come on, man. Let's talk about America in the past. Why do we say make America healthy again? What does that imply? And if you haven't already done this, you're welcome to share this video. There are a ton of people out there that are triggered by when somebody says make America healthy again. Share this video on your social media and say, hey, this is not partisan. This is not about a party. It's not about a person. It's not about a politician. This is about health and making everybody healthy. Again. Why do we say again? We say again because if you go back to the 1920s, 1930s, and I don't mean during the Depression, I don't mean when people are starving, I mean when people have enough to eat. Nobody, 1940s, 1950s, nobody had type 2 diabetes. In a county like the county I live here in Tennessee, we got about 18,000 people who live here. Back in the 1940s, 2 people out of 18,000 would have type 2 diabetes. 2. And now the rate of type 2 diabetes in this county is probably 30, if not 40%. How many obese people would there have been in a county like this back in the 1940s? Maybe 10 out of 18,000. Yeah. How many obese children would there have been in this county back in 1940? Either 0 or 1. Now, if you go to a public school, kindergarten or first grade or second grade, what percentage of the innocent young children in first grade, how many of them are already obese? How's that okay? How's that make any sense? Don't you want to get rid of that? Don't you want to reverse that? Don't you want to make those young Americans healthy again? I sure hope you do. It's just beyond me how people get all tore up about stuff. How many people do you think back in the 1930s and 40s and 50s, how many people had fatty liver that weren't alcoholics? 0 out of a county of 18,000, maybe 1 in the whole county. Now, what's the percentage in your county? This is crazy. Total Joe says, how can we not give out candy on Halloween? Let me tell you what we do for Halloween. We go to the dollar store, the Dollar Tree, and we buy a bunch of stupid little toys and gadgets and spinners and little pencils and erasers. And that's what we give out for Halloween. We give out trinkets instead of tooth rotting, diabetes causing candy. Because the kids that come to our house for trick or treat on Halloween, we want them to get healthier too. We don't want to rot their teeth out. We don't want to cause diabetes. We don't want to make them even more obese. So we're going to give them a cute little pencil with an eraser on it or a cute little toy car. We're not going to give them candy. What are you guys going to be giving out for Halloween? Are you going to be helping to make America healthy again, or are you going to be helping make America sicker like it currently is? That's what it comes down to. The make part of it is you. What are you going to do about it? And a lot of you guys you've already reversed your chronic disease with a proper human diet. And now you're helping your family. Now you're helping your friends. A lot of you guys are giving a little free talk at the local church or the local library about a proper human diet. That's the way we make America healthy again. For cheap, because you're giving that little talk for free. Didn't cost anybody anything. The library was going to have the lights on whether you gave your talk or not. Didn't cost a penny. But you could literally transform the life of people. America didn't used to have all these chronic health problems. Okay, if you go back into the 1800s, you'd have to search for days to find somebody who was severely obese. You'd have to search for months to find somebody who had type 2 diabetes as an adult. It just didn't happen. You'd have to search for weeks, if not months, to find somebody who had heart disease and had just had a heart attack. It was so rare. That's how rare this kind of stuff was. Cancer, there was cases of cancer, no doubt. But what was the prevalence? What was the rate? Even the 1940s and 50s compared to now, what was the rate of cancer? Why is it going up so much? Back before the 1930s, there was no such thing as big pharma. So we know that pharmaceuticals is not why there was no type 2 diabetes in America. The big pharmaceutical houses really didn't become big until the 1950s, really. So how in the early 1940s, how come nobody had type 2 diabetes? If there was no Ozempic, there's no metformin, there was no glyburide, glimepiride, there's no Actose. So maybe it's not we need more medicine. Maybe it's that we need to eat a proper human diet again. What about food? Kellogg's and General Mills and Post, they didn't really have a huge market share before 1940. What did people eat? How did they not starve to death? There was no Raisin Bran to eat, no Lucky Charms, no Kelsey Brothers combo cereal. How did people survive? They ate real food. They ate food that was grown on either their farm or a farm down the road. They either went to the backyard and got it, or they bought it from their neighbor, or they bought it from a local store who had bought it from a farm 5, 10, 20 miles away. It was real food. There was no severe obesity epidemic back then. There was no type 2 diabetes epidemic. Fatty liver was unheard of unless you were an alcoholic. What changed? Now we've got all these big food companies who are saying that they're feeding us healthy food. And we've got all these huge pharmaceutical companies saying you need this medicine to be healthy. But yet fewer of us are healthy now than were before these companies even existed. So maybe big pharma's drugs are not the solution. And maybe big food's low-fat, cholesterol-free food is not the solution. Tell me what you think in the comments. Patrick said, Dr. Berry, work with RFK Jr. So RFK Jr. and I follow each other on Twitter, and we've had a couple of conversations about him coming on my YouTube channel. He's very busy, as you know, and that may happen, that may not. I don't know, but I would work with anybody in a leadership position. If their true intention was to make America healthy again, I would work with any leader from any party. Yeah, this is not a partisan issue. If somebody came to me from either party and said, hey, we want to encourage people to eat real, whole, locally grown food. We want to encourage people to eat a low-carb, uninflammatory diet. Will you help us spread the word? That would be the definition of make America healthy again, wouldn't it? Regardless of which party it came from. What are you doing to make America healthy again? I know some of you guys are working hard. Down in the show notes, if you're on Facebook or YouTube watching this live, you can get a free copy of my Proper Human Diet Guidebook. It comes in, I'll email you a PDF and you can print that out. But that's not all you can do with that guidebook. Not only can you print yourself out a free copy, but if you want to, you can print out 20 extra copies, which are also free. And you can leave some at the local library. You can leave some at the post office. You can leave some at your church. You can spread the word that, hey, you don't have to be a type 2 diabetic. You don't have to be severely obese. You don't have to be a slave to the big pharmaceutical companies and spend half of your paycheck on drugs at the pharmacy. That doesn't have to be your life. You don't have to wind up in a nursing home at age 50. You don't have to watch one of your loved ones die prematurely. Here's something you can do about it. That's the way a lot of people are improving the health of their community, is they've got a bunch of copies of the Proper Human Diet Guidebook that they got for free. They printed out a bunch of free copies. They just hand one out to everybody they care about. It's free. You see how this is not going to increase the taxes, it's not going to increase anything. You just have to educate, re-educate, because Americans used to know what was real food. I guarantee you, if you went back to the 1920s and you showed them some of the food that we've got, if you showed them Kelsey Brothers cereal, the kids are dumb. That's why we don't let them vote, right? They would have eaten it up. They're like, oh my God, this is delicious. But the parents would have been like, what's that made out of? And the grandparents would have forbidden it from being in their house. But things have changed. We've been so brainwashed and propagandized by the advertising from Big Food and Big Pharma that we're just like, I don't know. Kellogg said it was healthy. I guess it's fine. It's not fine. It's not fine. You have to realize Kellogg's is in business to make a profit. At the end of the day, that's all they care about. They don't give a damn if they made your grandson have fatty liver. They don't give a damn if they made your granddaughter a type 2 diabetic. They don't care. They made a profit. They made their board of directors happy. The end. That's it. That's all they care about. This is a big deal, you guys. Never has a general population of a country been as sick, as metabolically sick as we are currently in the United States. There is no precedent for this. There's never been a country that was as metabolically sick as we are in the United States right now. And that's got to change. At some point, this becomes a national defense issue. When we can't find enough healthy, able-bodied folks to be in the military, that's a problem. When we don't have enough people who are healthy and vigorous and vibrant enough to work, to get a job and work, that's a problem for the economy. What are we going to do about this? I want your comments in the suggestions. What do you think we ought to do about this? Because I don't think any one person's got all the answers. I don't have all the answers. I got a few, and I'll share them. But I guarantee you, you guys got some answers that I'd be like, oh, I haven't even thought of that. Good idea. Tell me in the comments. Let's get some questions. Kelly says she's triggered by this conversation, but she still appreciates me on YouTube. Thank you, Bill Yoder. Tinfoil Tukey. Thoughts on BPC 157. This is a small peptide that you can buy and inject. You can't really take it by mouth, but you can inject it. It appears to help with healing of chronic injuries, chronic joint pain. I'm not opposed to it. I think we need more research on it. Thank you, Mark. Crash Bandit says during World War II, the government did the Big Dig program, encouraging people to grow our own food. And I think in both World Wars, World War I and World War II, we encouraged people to have backyard chickens, backyard hens. We encouraged them to have a victory garden. You ever heard of that? And, you know, a lot of people want to have their own garden, but some people don't want to have their own garden. And I think that's fine, but you got to be willing to pay for the fresh produce. But if we've got local farmers who are getting either a tax break or getting a low interest loan from the federal government to start their broccoli farm, their spinach farm, their chicken ranch that they're going to have pastured eggs, or their small ranch where they're going to raise sheep or raise grass finished beef, raise pastured pork, why can't they get some federal assistance? Not necessarily just here's a check, here's free money, but what about a tax break? What about a low interest guaranteed loan to start these local ranches and local farms? Are you opposed to that? Some people are, and I understand. I've got a lot of libertarian blood in my system. And I want to be very, very careful about saying, oh, let's just raise taxes and let's just spend billions of dollars to stimulate. No, I don't know if that's the right answer or not. Thank you very much, James P. Robert says the fastest way to make my LDL plummet in 2 days, I have a blood test for life insurance. Robert, you need to literally go and get skim milk and Lucky Charms and eat nothing but that for the next 2 days. As much of it as you can. That will plummet your LDL. And that'll help you with life insurance. Obviously, that's unhealthy, but if you want to get a lower life insurance rate, any kind of high carb, high sugar, low fat, or fat free, that's what you want. And that'll plummet your LDL in 2 or 3 days. And then stop that immediately after you get your insurance locked in. Steve's been carnivore for 303 days. Huzzah, Steve. You're looking good in that profile pic. Thank you for the free copy of the PhD guidebook. So on Facebook and on my YouTube, I'm live right now. You can go to either one of those if you're on TikTok or you're on X. I don't know if it's in the show notes there or not, but you can go to my YouTube. I'm live on it right now. And in the show notes, you click on the link, you can get a free PDF copy of the Proper Human Diet Guidebook mailed straight to your email for free. 60 pages. It's got meal plans. It's got motivation. It's got all the basic principles of what makes a proper human diet proper. And it's proper for all humans. It doesn't matter what country you live in. It doesn't matter what your ethnicity. It doesn't matter what your religion. We are all human. And we all do best on a proper human diet. Nav says vitamin D is 23.8. Spent 45 minutes to an hour outside in summer. For some people, an hour is not enough time to be in the sun. Yep, you're just going to have to take a 5,000 IUs of vitamin D3 with some K2 in it, in addition to the sun exposure. Some people, it takes that. Marriage causes divorce. What a handle. Can you do carnivore with chicken and eggs? Not beef. Yeah. So if you've got alpha gal, or if you just don't like beef, you can do a wonderful, brilliant carnivore diet with seafood, eggs, and poultry. Yeah, absolutely. Just make sure that nothing's breaded and nothing's fried in vegetable seed oils. That's it. That's all you got to do. Allison, I'm stirring the pot, sharing how I healed 26 years of chronic inflammation, Meniere's and more, and the worst advice to take diuretic and low salt diet. So the way Allison is making America healthier again is she's telling her story, and she's helping other people who suffer from the same things that she used to suffer from. She's telling them how she fixed that. And hint, it wasn't with a handful of pharmaceuticals. That's not how she fixed that. Pfizer and Merck and Eli Lilly were not the solution to her chronic medical problems, were they, Allison? Trey, newly type 2 diabetic on keto intermittent fasting for 2+ months. Glucose was super high, now below 200 daily. You're on the way, Trey. But prolonged fast spikes me up over 200 all day. What's happening? This is perfectly fine, acceptable, and normal. Anytime you fast for longer than 18 hours, your blood glucose is going to go up a little bit, especially when you're still a type 2 diabetic. It's not dangerous. It's not bad. The fasting is helping you. Being strict keto is helping you. Trey is right now, Trey's a type 2 diabetic, but Trey within 3 to 6 months will no longer be type 2 diabetic. Trey is going to make America healthy again by making Trey healthy again. Because when you improve your health, you improve the health of your country, and you improve the health of our world, our earth. Do you know what the carbon footprint is for somebody with type 2 diabetes, hypertension, fatty liver, and obesity, and all the doctor visits they have to make, and all the medical procedures they have to have done, and all the prescription pills that they have to take that have been made in chemical factories, and all the pollution that puts out? Think about that for a second. If you think the fact that you're not using plastic straws and you take your own bag to the supermarket instead of using the plastic bags, if you think you're saving the world and you currently have type 2 diabetes or hypertension, fatty liver, obesity, any other number of metabolic conditions, and you're taking medication for that, and you think that taking your own bag to the supermarket, you're helping the earth, Sorry, but no. Johnny, hey, Dr. Berry, on carnivore, but wanted to know the effects of drinking no carb alcohol. Seems I've hit a wall, and low testosterone as well. Guess what causes weight loss stalls and low testosterone? Drinking alcohol. All alcohol is poison. Marriage causes divorce. What do you think of keto-friendly vegetables? I've got a YouTube video about the 7 low-carb keto-friendly vegetables. They're absolutely a thing. Some people can eat them just fine. Some people, they cause inflammation, so they have to be carnivore. Jesse, my nephew has an arachnoid cyst. Can keto carnivore help? Maybe. It's definitely not going to hurt. He has other issues that would be helped. So there you go. Put him on a proper human diet. If it helps the arachnoid cyst, great. If it doesn't, great, because you've helped all of his other metabolic conditions. Thank you, Elena. All right, guys, I'm going to take a few more questions. Do you have any questions for me? Type them into the comments. Be as succinct as you can without being pithy or laconic. Francisca says, 37-year-old ketovore for several months. How do I know whether I'm taking enough iodine? So I've got a YouTube video about iodine-rich foods. You can eat 2 or 3 of those a week. That's going to help greatly. Currently taking 5 drops of Lugol's 5%. Will iodine help with mood swings during this time of the month? If you're deficient in iodine, then taking Lugol's 2% or Lugol's 5% is going to make you feel much better. Also, if you've got fluoridated water, or if you drink lots of soft drinks, because almost all soft drinks are made with fluoridated water, if you're getting lots of fluoride from your water, your fruit juice, your soft drinks, your toothpaste, you need more iodine, because fluoride competes with iodine for the sodium iodide symporter that's found in every human cell inside your body. It's a big deal. I've got multiple videos about iodine on my YouTube channel. If you're like, iodine, I thought that was poison. Oh my God, you need to watch my YouTube videos about iodine. If you're like, oh no, iodine, that'll cause hyperthyroidism. Oh my God, you need to watch my iodine videos on YouTube. None of that's true. Twitch Pony, please help. Every time I get 3 months into carnivore, keto, or lion, I get painful, hard abdominal distension, suicidal thoughts, chest pain, and shortness of breath. Yeah, the diet's not doing that, Twitch Pony. You need to go see your doctor. You got something else going on. You need to go see your doctor ASAP. Thank you very much, Scott Darby. Marriage causes divorces. Which electrolyte do you use? I either use unflavored elements or unflavored Redmond's Relight or unflavored salt tea. It depends on who sent me some free electrolytes lately. I have weaned off all the flavored ones because, surprise, surprise, they're going to have some maltodextrin in them. And who else knows what's going to be in the natural flavoring? If you use the unflavored ones, there's not going to be any of that stuff in there. It would be a waste of their money to put something in unflavored electrolytes that gives it flavor, because then it wouldn't be unflavored. And you'd be like, I want it unflavored. Also, if any of you guys have any of the electrolyte powders, open up a pack of the unflavored and then open up a pack of the flavored and pour them out in 2 little piles side by side. You're going to notice that the pile from the flavored is significantly larger. Wonder why that is. It's got to be something besides electrolytes making that pile bigger, right? What is that? Is that the natural flavorings? Definitely it's some maltodextrin, no doubt about that. For most people, it's not enough maltodextrin to make much of a difference. But for some people who are very metabolically ill, and especially for some people who are metabolically ill and they're drinking 6 packets a day, that's gonna cause an issue. Yeah. Beltomp, has your dosage of iodine changed since your interview with Dr. Brownstein? So when I first read about iodine back in 2003, 2004, I read Brownstein's book, and he recommends a large dose of iodine. I'm like, dang it, that's a lot. But I mean, I get his argument, I get his logic. So I bought some Lugol's 2% iodine, and I started putting 2 drops a day in my coffee. And so just that one little change alone, I was getting probably 10 times as much iodine as I was getting previous to that, which is a great improvement. But was I getting enough? I don't know. Recently, I interviewed Dr. David Brownstein on my YouTube channel. And I asked him a bunch of questions because I consider him one of the world authorities on iodine supplementation. He's been doing it for decades. And after listening to his interview, I have been putting 10 to 15 drops of 2% in various, this is San Pellegrino with a half packet of unflavored electrolytes and 5 drops of Lugol's 2%. I was working out on our farm earlier. Nisha and I believe so much in the phrase "Make America Healthy Again" that we literally bought a farm so we could raise and rotate regeneratively raised sheep and eventually cattle. But right now we don't have the soil or the grass to support cattle. So I'm rotating sheep around to heal the soil, build the soil, and get the seed bank woke up so that we can actually have good grass. And then we're going to get some cattle. We've got enough sheep to feed us and our entire extended family, and also to feed some neighbors as well. What if everybody you knew raised enough food, whether animal or fish or vegetable, they raised enough food to feed themselves and their family and just a little bit for the neighbor? What would that do to Kellogg's profits, Coke and Pepsi? What would that do to Pfizer and Merck and Eli Lilly's profits? Think about that. Are you part of the solution? What are you doing? What are you doing to be part of Make America Healthy Again? Maybe you're not able to do anything, but maybe you are. Gringo, diagnosed with polymyositis, recommendations, vitamin D, K2, plenty of iodine, eat a proper human diet. Go see your doctor. All those things in combination. Carnivore, 10-month at my new work, not a single day sick or pain in body. Blood work is top notch. CRP is 0. 5-year carnivore for future has lost 400 pounds. Carnivore for Future also has a great YouTube channel, very inspirational, motivational. Got 49 years old yesterday. People at work think I'm 40 because he's got that carnivore glow. It's amazing what a proper human diet will do for you. Marriage causes divorce says, what vitamin and mineral supplements do you use? The only thing we supplement in this house, and this goes for me, Nisha, Beckett, and Bonnie, we supplement iodine because much of the soil around the world is very deficient in iodine. We supplement vitamin D3 and vitamin K2. That's it. That's the only supplements I take on a almost daily basis because every now and then my ADHD kicks in and I forget to take my supplements. Susie, are having high triglycerides bad during carnivore? How do I cure gluten allergy? So you cure gluten allergy, Susie, by not eating gluten anymore. It's not that you've got an allergy to gluten that you're going to cure. Your body just doesn't, it is inflamed when you eat gluten. It's because for your body, gluten is a slow poison. It's an inflammatory slow poison. A lot of people have this in their head, like, okay, well, if I go carnivore for 3 months, then I can go back to eating Lucky Charms. No, Lucky Charms still will not be human food after 90 days of carnivore. You need to never again eat gluten, Susie. Why would you even want to eat gluten other than just the addictive pleasure of eating bread? There's no nutrition in bread that you can't get better somewhere else without the gluten. Okay. It's just like lactose intolerant. People think, oh, I've got lactose intolerance, like it's a disease. That's not a disease. That's the default setting. That's normal for a mammal, for a human to be lactose intolerant. You're not supposed to drink milk as an adult. Some of us have evolved the ability to tolerate it. That still does not mean it optimizes your health. Just think about that. People get very religious when you talk about milk. It's like talking about bananas or lemon water or apple cider vinegar. People get pissed off. Macoed Div, total carnivore for years. Trigs 29, C-peptide 1.98, hemoglobin A1C 5.9, fructosamine 291, fasting insulin 6. What do you think? I think you're in pretty damn good shape. Alina, if I have a beef allergy, could I heal it with a carnivore diet? Yeah, with poultry, with seafood, with non-mammal meat and eggs. Yes. And then you can keep trying to reintroduce beef every month or two. And at some point, you'll be able to eat it again. Absolutely. Joanna says, is diet low in sodium RT osteoporosis? Why are you asking about that, Joanna? There's no health benefits of a low sodium diet. This is a myth that's been perpetuated by the American Heart Association for decades, maybe a century now, I think, but at least decades. There's no meaningful research that shows that your health is going to improve if you eat a low sodium diet. This is a myth. I have a YouTube video about osteopenia and osteoporosis if you want more information about that. If you haven't already done so, hit the thumbs up, hit the heart. And you're welcome to share this if we've talked about something you think would help your friends or neighbors on your social media. Sam, is there an explanation for why occasionally eating carbs gets me out of a weight loss stall? I think that any shock to the system, it could be that if you start cold plunge, or if you start high intensity interval training, or if you eat carbs for a few days, or if you eat higher fat for a few days, there's any number of ways to kind of shock your system and cause the weight loss to pick back up. If you're going to ask me questions, try to use complete sentences so I'm a lot of things, but I'm not a mind reader. I have to have a complete sentence. Doris, if your heart is pumping at 100% now and your heart is having regular heartbeats, I'm on carvedilol, Entresto, aspirin, spironolactone for heart. I don't know what you mean, Doris. I don't see a question there. I'm glad that your heart is pumping at 100%, though. Nav, thoughts on the 3-day sardine fast? Some people love challenges. And if you want to do the 3-day sardine fast where you eat nothing but sardines for 3 days, it's not harmful. It's not going to hurt you at all. Do it. There's people who do butter fast, sardine fast, beef only fasts. I think as long as what you're fasting with, and actually it should be called, not a fast, because fast means you're not eating. It could be called the sardine challenge, where you eat only sardines. I think it's fine. Sardines are a nutrient dense superfood. Malchus, can you eat after 9 p.m. on carnivore? You can. Yeah, you can eat in bed. You could set your alarm and wake up and eat in bed if you wanted to, but I don't recommend it. You need to eat about an hour or two before you go to bed. Most people need to wait 2 hours after their last meal before you go to bed. Yes, I'm also live on TikTok, Grows Petite Chat. I don't know what you mean, Elena. What about cyst thyroid? You mean a thyroid cyst? You need iodine, 100%. Marriage causes divorce. Is iodine important for men? Why? Okay, so every cell in the human body, and this includes men and women, and if you identify as something else, that's fine. You also have something on the cell membrane of every cell in your body called a sodium iodine symporter. And what this does is it moves iodine from outside of the cell inside the cell. And it costs energy to do that. And cells don't do things that cost energy unless they're going to benefit from it. So the very fact that you have a sodium iodide symporter on every cell in your body, that is prima facie evidence that that cell needs iodine. So there have been so many people with Hashimoto's who've been told, "Oh, you need to avoid iodine." This is foolishness. Every cell in your body needs iodine. There are people who've been told by their doctor, "You're allergic to iodine. You should avoid iodine." This is ignorance on your doctor's part. There is no such thing as iodine allergy in human beings. It does not exist. Now, I'm not saying that you didn't have an allergic reaction to the iodinated contrast dye that for your CAT scan or your IVP. That doesn't mean you're allergic to iodine. It has other ingredients in it. I'm not saying you didn't have an allergic reaction to seafood. You may have, but it wasn't the iodine. It's probably the chitin in the shell or some of the other ingredients. Maybe something in the spices or the seasoning or the sauce, but it was definitely not the iodine. Do you know how I know? If I were like a televangelist, if I were able to reach through the screen and grab every atom of iodine in your body and pull it out, you would be dead within 3 minutes. You cannot live without iodine in your body. The less you have, the sicker you are. I don't care if you have Hashimoto's. I don't care if you have thyroid cancer, hyperthyroidism. It doesn't matter. Whatever your doctors told you, they're currently ignorant. Every human on planet Earth needs iodine. There is no exception. No human on Earth is allergic to iodine. That is a myth. I don't blame patients for saying, "Well, the doctor told me I was allergic to iodine," and then you believe it. That's not your fault. You're not a doctor. You're just going by what you're told. But any doctor who tells people they're allergic to iodine is ignorant of basic human physiology. Not even human, just animal physiology. Like you don't even understand basic animal life. If you have told somebody that they're allergic to iodine and you've put that in their chart, it'd be like saying, "Oh, you're allergic to oxygen or allergic to hydrogen or allergic to nitrogen." These are the building blocks of life. You cannot be allergic to them or you would not be alive. Iodine is a building block of life for both men and women, regardless of your age, regardless of your medical conditions. Does that make sense? Did that clear it up? Dieter is saying hi from Denmark. Go, go. Even Dieter in Denmark wants to make America healthy again. Dieter knows that everything ripples out from America. Maybe it's not fair. Maybe it shouldn't be that way. Maybe you hate that it is that way, but 1 + 1 is 2, and it is that way. The ripples of America's illness or the ripples of America's increasing health, those ripples go across every ocean to every other shore. Dieter knows that. People in other countries know that. Thank you, Dieter. What time is it there? Shouldn't you be getting in bed? Chrono Punk says, "Is it dangerous to have one cheat day a year?" No, I think it's fine. I think anybody can have a cheat day on their birthday or their anniversary. It's fine. As long as you're not, smoking meth and drinking PGA, it should be fine. Susie, my triglycerides are high. Is that bad? Yes. And what kind of carbs are edible that you can eat during carnivore? There are no edible carbs on carnivore. Carnivore is meat and eggs and seafood only. Now, if you want some vegetable and fruit and berry carbs, then you're going to eat either low carb or ketogenic or ketovore. You can have some carbs. And I lay this out in the Proper Human Diet Guidebook. And Susie, in the show notes on YouTube, you can get a free copy of that. Just click on the link and I'll email you a free copy. Then you'll understand the difference between lion diet, carnivore, keto, low carb, and then junk. It'll help you understand. Eric, what do I say to family members that are worried about me not eating vegetables on a carnivore diet? Eric, you don't have to say anything. What I would say is, look, I'm trying to reverse metabolic disease or whatever you're trying to reverse. This diet is helping me be healthier. Don't you want me to be healthier, right? And then if they want to argue and say, well, yeah, but you're missing out on all the nutrition in vegetables, say, well, which nutrients is that? And if they say fiber, just shake your head and walk away. Try not to laugh at them. It's not people's fault that they're ignorant. They've been taught so much misinformation. They've been battered with propaganda for so many decades. You can't blame people for being ignorant of just basic nutrition facts. It's not their fault, but it's my job and Eric's job and other people's job to kind of help them gently, lovingly say, hey, you don't need fiber. What are you talking about? Dawn, carnivore for 5 months now, down 55 pounds. You know anybody that needs to lose 55 pounds? There's a carnivore option in the Proper Human Diet Guidebook. You can get it for free. By can't eat fat of any kind. Well, now I know that's not true, Dawn, because if you hadn't eaten any fat in 5 months, you'd be very, very sick, if not dead. You are eating fat. You may not be eating enough fat, but you're eating fat. Tried ox bile and enzymes, but it doesn't help. Advice, please. I would try different kinds of fat. Some people react to butter. If they put butter on something, it will cause issues. But if they use bacon grease, it doesn't. Or if they use beef tallow, it doesn't. You can even use coconut oil if you don't like any of the animal fats. This is a good question. Marriage Causes Divorce says, why is Google search results anti-carnivore? Because marriage causes divorce. You need to change that handle, by the way. That's not nice. The reason Google is anti-carnivore and pretty much anti-keto is because Google makes all its money selling ads. What do you think they make the most money from? Which kind of ad? Big pharma ads? Big food ads? Yes, that's over half their profit. Do you think that if carnivore was as popular in Google search as it is in real life, do you think that would put some big food companies completely out of business and put some big pharmaceutical companies completely out of business and cost Google billions of dollars in ad revenue a year? Yeah. Yeah. Being a carnivore is a very revolutionary act. It's a revolutionary health act. And that's the way some people are making America healthy again, is by going carnivore and then teaching their friends how to do it. Some people it's keto, some people it's low carb. But the 3 steps to make America healthy again is to get all the sugar out of your diet, all the added sugar and most of the naturally occurring sugar. It's not good for you. You don't need it. Number 2, get all of the grains and beans out of your diet. Wheat, rice, oats, corn, soybean. You don't need any of that. That's slave food. That's prisoner food. That's not health optimization food. Okay. Step 3 is to get rid of all the vegetable seed oils. If we were able to get everybody who lives in America to do just those 3 things, do you understand? 80% of chronic diseases would go away within 6 months. They would just, the severe obesity epidemic would just start to wither away. Type 2 diabetes would become less and less and less common. Fatty liver would just go away. There'd be very few people with it. Just those 3 steps. You don't have to go full carnivore to get all these benefits. Most people don't have to be a carnivore. Now, everybody needs some meat in their diet and some eggs in their diet and some seafood in their diet. That's part of a proper human diet, is to have at least some degree of meat and eggs and seafood. But it doesn't have to be 100%. Malchus, can I eat after PM on carnivore? I work late and eat before I go to bed a lot. If you have no choice, Malchus, I would put 1 or 2 red bricks under each head post of the bed so that you elevate the entire head of the bed 3 or 4 inches. If you have to eat right before you go to bed, just because of your schedule, and that way it keeps the food down in the stomach where it belongs. It uses gravity. Otherwise, your risk of reflux, heartburn, gastritis, esophagitis go up. Also, you're not going to sleep as deeply if you go to bed on a full stomach. Zeus Zar del Rosario, does being in ketogenic state help with sexual communicable disease or good defense? Asking for a friend, for real. It probably offers some level of protection, but I would still wrap it up if I were you. Richie Guru, if you was a smoker and on a SAD diet and had to fix one first, would you stop smoking first or improve diet first? Well, Richie Guru, I fully believe that human beings are capable of multitasking and doing more than one thing at one time. You could be slowly weaning the smoking while you're also slowly weaning the sugars and slowly weaning out the wheat, rice, oats, and corn. You can do all 3 of those just slowly. You could switch to vaping, and after 2 or 3 days of coughing, that's going to be much less dangerous than smoking. Still dangerous, but not as. Get rid of all the ultra processed sugar stuff. You can do both of those at once. You don't have to pick one or the other. Nisha's tired of waiting on me. She's about to cook. She's about to cook something. Joe Fox, any examples of positive impacts of this way of eating in autistic teens? Multiple anecdotal examples, Joe Fox. If you want to see an example of what a ketogenic diet does to a child who has autism, just watch The Magic Pill. It's a documentary. They use the word magic for a reason, because the results look like magic, even though they're just physiology. Many autistic children and adults significantly lessen their symptoms on a ketogenic diet. And for all you guys watching, remember, carnivore is keto. Okay. Keto isn't necessarily carnivore, but carnivore is keto. Any other questions, guys? Now's the time to ask your question. Last call for questions, y'all. Has everybody gotten the free copy of the Proper Human Guidebook that wants a copy? As long as I'm live, you can go to the show notes on YouTube or Facebook and click the link. And it's also at drbarry.com. If you're watching this on the replay, you can get a free copy of the Proper Human Diet Guidebook, and it explains to you all the principles, whether you want to be low carb or ketogenic or ketovore or carnivore or even the lion diet. They're all on the Proper Human Diet spectrum. And this free 60-page guidebook will walk you through all the principles that you need to understand. The Proper Human Diet Guidebook is not sponsored by Kellogg's or Pfizer. They do not want you to have a copy. But I want you to have a copy, and I'm going to give it to you for free. All right, my friends, that's it. I'm out. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. It's not too late to share this video. If we talked about something that you think would help a friend or neighbor, share this on your favorite social media. Make sure you're subscribed on the way out. Hit that thumbs up and say bye-bye in the comments. See you next time.